to the FBI or not.
This is entrapment of the highest order, a classic abuse of power.
Did you kill the Taliban bomb maker?
Yes, construe it as a law enforcement mindset.
The possible government shutdown. The sticking point continues to be the border wall.
With the wall is the divider between good and bad.
I am more than okay for the president to stick to his guns. You will win. We have your back.
Ruling that the Affordable Care Act is invalid as open enrollment closes today, but Obama exchanges are still open for business. So this is likely to go to the Supreme Court. Another big battle over Obamacare. It never seems to end, but this is a big blow to Obamacare.
So a judge in Texas, who a lot of people deem to be a credible, thoughtful guy, basically said, if you get rid of the mandate, and the mandate has been gotten rid of, that was part of what President Trump did, then it invalidates the entire bill, because the entire Obamacare was premised on the mandate and the
Chief
tax
Justice John Roberts saved the law several years ago by saying the individual mandate is a tax, and so the Commerce Clause of the Constitution, basically, this saves it. It's constitutional. It's all good. Now that mandate's gone, it's not so good.
Get ready for left-wing talking points coming home on this, though. They're going to say Republicans don't care about your health. Republicans want to take away your health care. They want to take away your pre-existing conditions. So Republicans better be armed with some good ideas. Come out, talk about the free market, and don't just talk about it, but have plans to implement so that people feel that you are in control of this very important issue. Nothing is more important to people and more at the forefront than their own personal health.
Democrats may have been their own worst enemy here, because they put up this law. They made all kinds of promises. Keep your doctor if you like doctor. Like your plan, keep your plan. That didn't turn out. They said it was going to be affordable.
It's going to lower premiums and everything.
Premiums have gone up. So that plays right into what the president has been saying since day one of his campaign. He's now tweeting about this decision, saying, as I predicted all along, Obamacare has been struck down as an unconstitutional disaster. Now Congress must pass a strong law that provides great health care and protects pre-existing conditions. Mitch and Nancy get it done. And Pete, what I like about that is that he is immediately putting the ball in the Democrats' court. Yes, Republicans have a responsibility to govern. He's the president. But it's Democrats who crafted this law.
Yep.
What comes next? Nancy Pelosi's not going to be in charge.
I mean, you're right. It goes to Mitch and Nancy, but we all know what Nancy wants to do.
Oh, yes.
Nancy wants to do what Bernie wanted to do, what your favorite socialist from the Bronx wants to do, Ed, which is Medicare for all. I mean, they want government-run health care. As you pointed out last hour, so rightly, that's what they wanted to begin with.
From the beginning.
Obamacare was a half measure that they could get in the moment. Socialized medicine is where they want to go.
Yep.
So Mitch is not going to go for that. Nancy is. I don't see anything changing.
Nancy Pelosi is actually responding already. And she is saying tonight's district court ruling exposes the monstrous endgame of Republicans' all-out assault on people with pre-existing conditions and Americans' access to affordable health care. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of demonization here. And I love how they call it the Affordable Care Act. Bottom line was, it wasn't very affordable for a lot of people. They lost their doctors, they lost their plans, and they couldn't afford their health care. So they have a lot of nerve talking about it like that. The points you made right there
are the points that a lot of states' attorney general made, like Ken Paxton in Texas, who brought this case to the feds. That's why the judge was ruling on it, because they said everything that had been promised is not actually turning out. Ken Paxton was on with our own Shannon Bream last night. Here's how he put it.
Obviously, I'm celebrating with the president. This, we believe from the very beginning, was unconstitutional, and we think the judge did the right thing. There's no doubt in my mind that this was unconstitutional. If you remember, they built this on a tax. This is what Judge Roberts said. It was built on this tax. Well, the tax was removed by Congress at the end of last year. Well, now that the penalty was taken out by Congress at the end of last year in the tax reform bill, the taxing power issue is gone, and therefore the individual mandate falls.
So, as you said, the Republicans now have to say, okay, what comes next? They've been against Obamacare from the beginning, so they've got to come up with some plans. We know where the Democrats are. They want Medicare for all, as you say, and here's the big problem with that, is the cost. How do you pay for that? You're talking about a massive expansion of an entitlement.
Well, you can ask Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I'm sure she will not be able to answer you.
No, she won't. And so this will be appealed again. It'll go to the Supreme Court. It'll be very interesting to see what John Roberts does.
You have a different court now than you did under President Obama.
But still John Roberts, who was the deciding vote in upholding Obamacare, so we'll be watching.
It's an opportunity, though, to show a contrast, because you have Democrats always running with government, and it doesn't work. People know it doesn't work. This is the opportunity for Republicans to come out and say, we have a solution. Don't lose this opportunity.
Wait, opportunities for Republicans to have a solution? That sounds like the border wall.
Overdue.
And maybe something they were supposed to do or could have done for 2 years.
Republicans have the White House, the House, and the Senate for the last 2 years.
Last time I checked, that's true. I know President Trump has wanted it. Well, he's reportedly working on a deal, the president, that would delay the border wall fight until the new year, maybe a 2-week extension. I got to look at the details of it. I don't really understand why that would be the case.
They might be kicking the can because you're due to have a partial government shutdown at the end of this coming week. And so maybe the president wants to kick the can past Christmas, but then all of a sudden you're at the beginning of January, Democrats about to take power, maybe their hand is strengthened. And it's interesting because let's not forget, I mean, these news cycles move so quickly. But what dominated this week before Michael Cohen and everything else was that extraordinary meeting in the Oval Office where the president just threw down on Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and said, I promise the American people I'm going to get the border wall. Well, we are going to do this no matter what. And you look right there. Now, Democrats...
It was a wonderful scene.
Many in the mainstream media said, oh, Nancy Pelosi was all over him. She has a much stronger hand. And the president came out of it saying, no, just the opposite, that he believes that the American people are on his side. They want more border security. And Lindsey Graham agrees. Watch.
And more than okay for the president to make a reasonable request of the Congress and stick to his guns. He ran on securing our border. The Democrats all voted, 44 of them did, in February of 2018, this year, for $25 billion for the wall as part of a larger deal. Now they won't give him $5 billion that could be well spent. This is arrogance on their part. They hate Trump. They're overreading their mandate.
I'm loving Lindsey Graham 2.0. I mean, I think he's 100% right. I do. And I think Trump needs to be very careful about delays, because the one thing that people expect from him is to not delay, to not be afraid of a government shutdown in order to make this wall a priority. And remember, he ran on that. He ran on immigration. He ran on being tough on this. So the expectation for him is very high on this.
The only rationale is extending through Christmas. That's it. Otherwise, there's no reason to delay. There's no reason to give in.
Problem is that comes then a week later and a month later.
No, it can't. It can't. It can't. It really can't. If you don't get it now, then you're never going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm with you 100%.
Now's the time.
Now is the time to shut it down or get the wall. No doubt about it.
Another big story breaking this morning.
There is. You know, a Afghan war hero, Silver Star recipient, was interviewing at the CIA and admitted to killing a suspected Taliban bomb maker. Now, he made that admission while interviewing at the CIA. Also had admitted that happened in talking to our own Bret Baier in 2016 in an interview about Matthew Goldstein. He served as a Green Beret in Afghanistan, and he talked to Bret Baier about being in that combat environment. He had two Marines
had been killed, and he said, look, we're going to go get this bomb maker. They had not been cleared to get the bomb maker through the rules of engagement, but he wanted to do it. It was seen as him being a vigilante. He felt like he was getting justice. Here's what he told Bret Baier, and then we'll explain what's happening to him now.
Did you kill the Taliban bomb maker?
Yes.
Willingly offered up these details at the CIA, right?
That's correct.
And that's where it all started.
Pretty much. You can construe it as a law enforcement mindset. There's limits on how long you can hold guys. You realize quickly you make things worse. It is an inevitable outcome that people who are cooperating with coalition forces, when identified, will suffer some terrible torture or be killed.
So that's what the sort of confession he made to Bret Baier. He was being honest to the CIA when he was applying for a job about what happened in Afghanistan, and now it's boomeranging. Now they're basically bringing charges against him, and he could face the death penalty. This is serious business.
Yeah, it's amazing. Listen, I struggle with this all the time. First of all, war fighters like this, thank God we live in a nation where men like this will do things on our behalf to keep us safe.
That's right.
In Iraq and Afghanistan, I saw it myself. There's a catch and release program where you catch people, you don't have enough evidence to hold them, then people you know are responsible with blood on their hands from the enemy are released back into the public. In this particular case, this Green Beret said, 2 Marines are dead. I'm going to go find this guy. I'm going to kill him. And because when I kill him, he can't make more bombs and kill more Americans. If you're at war with ISIS, if you're at war with radical Islamists, that's the type of approach you have to have. The problem is our military justice system hunts guys like this down and says, no, you shouldn't have taken that action. You should have left him released. I get what the rules are, and the rules are important, but I side with a guy like him every time because he wants his boys to come home. He wants Americans to come home. He doesn't care if a dirtbag bomb maker gets killed. So, unfortunately, our bureaucracy never sees it that way. Army lawyers, special operations lawyers come down on these guys, and it's a shame.
People forget we are at war. I mean, these guys are making, first of all, it's war. And just think about that for a second. These guys are making decisions sometimes in the moment. They're following their gut. Their job is to protect this country and to protect themselves and their men.
All good points made. Let's be fair and point out what the Army is saying in this case. Their Special Operations Command spokesman says Major Matthew Goldstein's immediate commander has determined that sufficient evidence exists to warrant the preferral of charges against him. They're saying this was premeditated. This is a remarkable story, the idea that an American war hero might actually face the death penalty. We want to get your comments on this story. Friends at Fox News.
Just remember, he's an American who put his life on the line and killed a Taliban bomb maker for you after that guy killed Americans. It's like another case, Navy SEAL Eddie Gallagher.
There's the only way they know about it is that he was interviewed for a job and told the truth.
And he was honest. He was transparent about the whole thing.
He didn't lie about it. He said, here's what happened.
You know why? Because he comes back to a grateful nation and says, you know what I did on your behalf? I'm going to be honest about it. I'm not going to hide it. I'm not ashamed of it. And he gets punished for it.
And what kind of message are you sending about that, too?
Well, it's
because
rules
he
of
was
engagement.
forthcoming.
Rules of engagement are out of control in how they restrict war fighters. I think this president has an opportunity to change that. You can do it without being ruthless and indiscriminate. These guys know the line.
All right,
so,
friends at FoxNews.com, what do you think? What would be justice in this case? We want to know what you think. But meanwhile, we got a lot of other stories.
Maybe a pardon. Yep. I mean, listen, guys like this can be pardoned ultimately, too. Anyway.
Well, a new poll shows former Vice President Joe Biden is leading Democrats in the field of possible 2020 candidates. But will it stay that way? Charlie Hurt is here to weigh in. He's live next.
And some people are about to get free money. Ooh, $500 a month.
Yeah.
But at what cost to their community?
And to the taxpayer.
Yeah. Sounds like socialism.
Good morning again. A fresh new poll finding that former Vice President Joe Biden leads the pack of potential 2020 Democratic contenders. Close on his heels, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders and rising star Beto O'Rourke. Here to react, Fox News contributor and opinion editor and columnist at the Washington Times, Charlie Hurt. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ed.
So is this just name ID early on? Because as the president himself was saying in some of those rallies leading into the midterms, he's really 1% Joe. Every time Joe Biden has run on his own, he's in the low single digits.
Yeah, at this point, it largely is that. But I have to say that, there's been some improvement for Joe Biden because, of course, the last poll they did had the entire field behind I don't know or other. So that's a slightly bigger problem. But it is true at this point, it's largely name idea. And quite frankly, when you look around and you talk to Democratic voters these days, as you have, it's kind of hard to imagine that a guy like Joe Biden, who's been part of the political scene for decades. He's been in administration for 8 years. It's kind of hard to imagine Democratic voters, given the current environment, going for a guy like him. And when you have a situation where you're going to have early voting starting in California the day that you have the Iowa caucuses begin this year. All that front-loading of voting out west is going to give a tremendous advantage to other candidates other than, say, a guy like Joe Biden, who's going to be running more in the sort of traditional old-school Republican mold and give that advantage to people who are talking about socialist programs.
Teased earlier that there's another report saying that Biden might be telling Democrats privately that Beto O'Rourke could be his VP, get a young face. But is that ticket a little too white male for the Democratic Party right now?
I think it absolutely is, but it's also going to be the strategy you see. He's got to find somebody else that he can kind of sort of draft off of that picks up that vital support that is increasingly, we're seeing, as you know, Ed, is increasingly taking control of the Democratic Party.
Let's talk about another Democrat who has designs on the White House, but interesting, she doesn't really pop up in that poll. Elizabeth Warren, given the DNA test, the backlash. Here's what she's saying now.
I'm not a person of color, and I haven't lived your life or experienced anything like the subtle prejudice or more overt harm that you may have experienced just because of the color of your skin.
So she previously said, quote, my Indian parents were forced to elope because of white racism, certainly suggesting she was a person of color. Now she says to a largely black audience, I'm not a person of color.
Yeah, once again, she's caught kind of trying to rewrite history. Earlier, she got caught with her hand in the affirmative action cookie jar, and then released that incredibly embarrassing, ridiculous DNA test that revealed that she has less Indian heritage than probably either one of us. And for her to claim now that, oh, she's never tried to use it to her advantage. Oh my goodness, her entire political career is based on trying to use that to her advantage. She tried using it to her advantage this entire time that she's been sort of jockeying to run for president. So, you know, just on the face of it, it's not true. And that's not just a problem with people like me who probably are not going to, would not support her under any circumstances.
Yes.
That's a problem for the Democratic base who obviously, right, understandably take this stuff very seriously and find it really offensive to have someone like this trying to claim the mantle of those issues.
All right, breaking news. Charlie Hurt will not support Elizabeth Warren in 2020. Just
breaking
so you know.
news.
All right, thanks, Charlie.
You bet.
Meanwhile, a Seattle law school cutting its ties with ICE. Our next guest is a student who disagrees strongly with that decision. These students are going to tell us why next. And the personal info of 7 million Facebook users. 7 million exposed. Another big problem for Facebook. Their response? That's next. Good morning again. Some quick headlines. The president names Mick Mulvaney as the acting White House chief of staff. The White House budget director and former South Carolina congressman will replace John Kelly at the end of the year. There's a little transition going on now. Mulvaney's deputy will take over at the budget office. He tweeted out, "This is a tremendous honor. I look forward to working with the president and the entire team. It's going to be a great 2019. We'll see." You're seeing live protests heating up in Paris for a 5th straight weekend. Nearly 8,000 officers and armored vehicles are patrolling city streets at this hour. Protesters are angry over low wages and tax inequality. Also, that Paris Climate Accord sort of blew up in their face. France now investigating whether Russia is urging the Yellow Jacket movement online after reports linking the Kremlin to social media accounts promoting unrest in Paris. And Facebook now apologizing, yes, for another massive leak that exposed photos of nearly 7 million users. For 12 days, a software bug allowed third-party apps to gain access to photos of 6.8 million users. That in September alone. Facebook claims the breach is now fixed. Affected users will be notified, they say. Facebook working on getting copies of those private photos deleted from the 1,500 apps. Good luck with that. It's going to take a while.
Man.
That's tough.
All right, well, the past 18 months have been full of Democrats pushing the Russia collusion narrative.
A presidential campaign may be compromised by the Russians.
That looks a lot like collusion to me.
I do think there's evidence of collusion.
He was colluding with the leader of a hostile power deliberately.
There's plenty of evidence of collusion. We know that the Trump campaign wanted the Russians to give them help.
We already know that there was collusion.
This after guilty pleas about lying to the FBI agents and investigations into campaign finance. Where is the collusion, some may ask? Dan Bongino,
looking for it.
Former Secret Service agent, former NYPD officer, and host of the Dan Bongino Show, joins us, and author of the book, hit book, Spygate. So, Dan, Mueller's team on Friday released key documents relating to the FBI's question of Flynn. One of the exhibits, which we'll put on the screen, struck and redacted. We don't know who that is. Both had the impression at the time that Flynn was not lying or did not think he was lying. Flynn said struck as bright but not profoundly sophisticated. So they say he wasn't lying. They walked him in without lawyers. What do you make of all this?
Yeah, Pete, you know, this is devastating. On the collusion front first, though, you see the movie Mean Girls where Gretchen tries to make fetch happen and Regina says fetch isn't going to happen? Collusion's not going to happen, guys. It's not. It's done. It's finished. There is no evidence of it. It's over. They've evolved from treason to collusion to obstruction to campaign finance reform. That's going to go nowhere, too. But on the Flynn case, what's profoundly disturbing about this, and just to be clear, what bothers me the most is the fact that the lawyer thing, that Andy McCabe, the #2 at the FBI, seemed to incentivize Flynn to speak without a lawyer. Now, to be clear on this, as a former federal agent, that's not illegal. There's no requirement that Mike Flynn have a lawyer present. But we know now that that was probably not SOP, standard operating procedure, for an interview of that kind of gravity. Why? Because Jim Comey admitted it himself on another network in an interview where he said what? I wouldn't have gotten away with it in another administration.
Yeah.
Gotten away with what?
Right. Dan, It seems crazy what James Comey said, as you point out. It seems like the behavior of Peter Strzok, Andrew McCabe, which we'd heard about before, is only getting worse with these court filings. And there's a real possibility in coming days that Judge Sullivan could just say, I'm throwing these charges.
He is a lawyer. He represents a client. I never directed him to do anything incorrect or wrong. and he understands that. Look, he did some bad things unrelated to me, maybe related to his other clients. I wasn't his only client. He had other clients. He did some bad things. And income tax evasion, I heard about taxi cab, I heard about a lot of things. Now, I'm not reading about any of that stuff, because what he did is he made a deal to embarrass me.
So what do they think about taxi cab confessions?
You can see the Republican scheme would be they're pretty much buying what Trump's got to say. Mostly. Independents not sure what to buy. I think this is sinking in a little bit with them, and they're not really buying what Trump has to say. Democrats are saying, you know what? I think you did
but
it.
Independents give him a C, whereas they're giving Michael Cohen an F. So that's
right.
kind of interesting.
Interesting how many times Republicans and independents fell in line.
They really
throughout.
They really do, and for the most part, during the 2016 cycle, that's how it went. There's been a lot of there's been a lot of split in recent times, and now you're seeing it on this particular issue. I think Republicans and independents are in line.
Do you feel like there's been time and time again we've been told this will hurt the president, his approval? Do you see this with independents?
I think a little bit, but it's not going to be this crisis that everybody's talking about at this point. I mean, if we're going to see some more things happening, perhaps, but I really don't see a whole lot of movement in people's opinions. I think people are pretty much decided. I think the president's guilty. I think the president's innocent, and I'm going to support him through it.
Most importantly, have you done any dials on the karaoke that Pete and I did a couple days ago? The voters win.
Come later in the show. We'll have it ready.
Viewers are going to be able to
I'm
win.
looking forward to that.
Don't dial it. Don't dial it. Lee, thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
All right, well, Mike Pence's faith being targeted by the left again. This time, an incoming Democratic congresswoman, one of the first Somali Muslim congresswomen, mocking the VP, the backlash she's now facing this morning.
And Christmas is getting closer, so Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's are here with some last-minute gift.
Getting ready for Christmas. You can see some of our wonderful producers. And Pete, one of our great anchors, right there.
Oh, thanks for using great. That's a little bit of a hyperbole. We had a good time, though. We know how to do a Christmas party.
It was fun.
Jedediah was there, but she left a little early.
I was there. Yeah, I had to take my mom to an appointment, but it was good times.
Did you miss the?
I missed it.
You missed the key part.
I did.
Of the entire party, so we wanted you to see
I'm ready
it.
now. Oh boy.
We were working for the weekend.
We did. I mean, we decided we got to do a duet. Why not?
Hang on a second. Can you please present it?
How did it actually happen, Ed?
How it happened was we didn't do anything. Pete decided, picked the song, texted it to me and said, we're singing this. I'm like, maybe. I arrived in New York from D.C. a couple days ago. Literally 2 or 3 very senior people say, I heard you and Pete are doing a song. I'm like, how many people has he told?
Listen, I think
it's
you
true.
guys...
I announced it on the air.
Made it a reality.
Like, I think Ed and I, we have to do it. And he's like, what are you doing here? I'm like, you got to get up on stage with me.
When are you guys taking it on the road? I could be a backup dancer. I think this is going to be something good.
There's a reason why they looped 5 seconds of a song over and over and over again.
Because you didn't have the backup dancer.
We could do a live reenactment.
We didn't have a lot
on the show.
We could.
Here,
we could.
Ed, what do you think?
We might, maybe later in the show. That sounds like a no.
Oh.
See, I was hesitating.
Probably not happening. It was a good time, though. We have an awesome team here at Fox and Friends, and it was a ton of fun.
It really was, and we've got a great team.
Can we talk about Santa Claus, though?
Oh, yeah,
because now people are saying that Santa Claus should be modernized. 23% say that Santa should have an iPhone. 20% he should have tattoos. 21% should go on a diet.
No, he's fat.
17% should be gender neutral. 11% he should be a woman, and 70% should remain a man. So what do you guys think? I kind of like my Santa old school.
Just the way he is? Yeah, this is a survey. People answered questions, and they said those insane things. Yes, I mean, why are we changing Santa?
I already think he's modern because, the beard is very in right now. So I like Santa's gone trendy.
He was ahead of the curve.
He was ahead of the curve. There
it's
you go.
It's now kind of retro, and it's like Santa was cool way back when, and it's true. Like, Santa gets better and better. It's
First of all,
sort of like,
he's stocky. He's not fat. How do you know that he doesn't have tattoos? He wears the big suit. He might have tattoos. You don't know. Why would Santa ever go on a diet?
No.
Santa can fly around the world in 24 hours and deliver gifts to everyone.
He
doesn't eat
Exactly. How's he going to eat the cookies?
What are you going to do? Milk and cookies? What are you going to eat? Vegan cookies?
Gluten-free cookies, maybe.
We could leave a kale salad.
We could leave a kale salad that Santa
like those.
promptly smack over. and say, "Where are my cookies?"
So what do you think? Should we
Yeah, we want to hear
modernize
from
Santa?
you.
Should we stop leaving him chocolate chip cookies so he goes on a diet? Should we leave him a kale salad? We want to get your reaction. I feel like we're going to get some fun.
And if Santa got a tattoo, he might want to have one already. What would it look like?
What would
it might
be?
say "We the People."
It would be a
might.
tattoo of Pete, obviously.
Well, preferably. If he's listing his naughty list on his back.
And do you want us to sing later in the show? I don't know, but I don't know if I'm going to put it out there. We're friends at Fox News.
Backup dancer. All right. We are turning now to your headlines. Homeland Security's Inspector General is now investigating the death of a 7-year-old migrant girl who died after being taken into custody. Officials say the Guatemalan girl had not eaten or drank anything for several days while crossing illegally into the U.S. with her father.
I want to make it very clear that as agents, we are sick and tired of being blamed for these types of tragedies. The people that should be blamed for these types of tragedies are the drug cartels that are orchestrating these smuggling events.
The child was flown to a children's hospital in El Paso, Texas, where she later died from dehydration and shock. Take a look at this. Federal investigators are looking into what slammed into a commercial plane in mid-air. The nose of an Air Mexico jet significantly damaged in a possible drone collision before landing in Tijuana. No one was injured, and the plane was able to land normally. This could turn out to be the first time a drone hit a large jetliner ever. A Democrat is under fire after mocking the vice president's Christian faith online. Congresswoman-elect Ilhan Omar tweeting this photo of Vice President Pence saying, quote, "Jesus take the wheel, #BorderWall." The picture coming from a meeting earlier this week between President Trump and Democratic leaders over the border wall funding. No one wants to share the big stage with Maroon 5, it seems. The band is having trouble finding guest stars for the Super Bowl halftime show in Atlanta, according to Variety. Artists like Rihanna and Pink reportedly don't want to be associated with the NFL over the league's anthem controversy. The NFL has not yet announced Maroon 5 as the official act. And those are your headlines.
Thanks, Jed.
Thank you. All right, well, the countdown to Christmas has begun, and Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's has deals you don't want to miss.
Plus, there is still time to head to one of their stores to actually meet Santa. And Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, Alan Treadwell, our old friend, is here with the hottest last-minute deals. Everybody is trying to shop. Everyone is trying to figure this out. You can do a little bit online, but you can also bricks and mortar still alive and well, especially Bass Pro Shops. So what can people get?
That's right. Well, you know, Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, we believe in the power of Christmas. And, you know, taking it back to that simpler time when families celebrated the holidays together. And that's exactly what Santa's Wonderland is all about, those traditional family Christmases where you can go there and get your free photo with Santa at any Bass Pro Shops or Cabela's across the country. You know, and I'm a brand new dad. I have a little 8-month-old daughter, and I was able to take her.
We've got a picture. She's right there.
Take her to Santa's Wonderland.
Beautiful. What's her name?
Her name's Brimmy.
Nice. Brimmy, beautiful name.
Yep, and she got to meet the big guy herself, so that's what it's all about, making those memories, you know.
I
And then
paid $20 for a Santa photo.
Oh.
They're free at Bass Pro and Cabela's. That's right.
I love it.
What do you got for us today?
So we have all kinds of awesome gifts.
So warm, too.
We do, yeah, and that's a lot of this stuff is warm. It's cold outside. These are natural reflections and redhead house slippers. They're up to 33% off right now.
Wow.
Going on down the line, we have these redhead Sherpa fleece line jackets. This is great for outside working, playing, whatever you want to do.
Super
they're awesome.
warm, and guys, they're so soft on the inside. Wow.
And we were looking at these pants a little bit earlier. They're fleece and flannel line. You talk about something great for the wintertime.
Wow.
Less than $20.
So she likes to actually
less than
buy,
$20.
Yeah.
You like to buy men's clothes.
I buy men's clothes a lot because they're more comfortable, and I just wear them big. Honest, I really do.
You know,
I do.
There you go.
I don't know about the pants, but the flannels for sure.
That's cool. Wow, they're sweatpants
great.
on the inside, jeans on the outside.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I wish
They're
they
wonderful.
made those in women's.
Saying.
Talk about this gear bag.
Yeah,
this
what's
is kind
that?
of cool.
Yeah, so this is the Cabela's gear bag. It is $12.99. I mean, you talk about the perfect gift for somebody you don't know what to get for. They can put anything in it, whether they're going fishing, hunting,
Or you could throw your iPad in and do some tech stuff.
Absolutely.
Just,
absolutely
family
could.
Stuff. That's
You
great.
absolutely could. And if you don't know what to get them, our gift cards are always a great idea. And our gift cards have been rated #1 by Scripps for over 10 years. That's because they never expire. You can use them online, in our stores, at restaurants, Big Cedar or Big Cypress Lodges.
You guys are giving away a truck.
We are. That's something we're very excited about. What a better Christmas gift than a brand new truck. We're giving away a Toyota Tacoma TRD. These trucks are absolutely awesome. They're luxurious, rough, anything that you can throw at them. And actually, this truck has been the best-selling truck in its class for over a decade.
Wow. So you go to BassProShops.com.
Yep, you can register online, or you can register in our stores across the country. Yep.
You guys got to make these in women's for me. I'm excited.
Alan Treadwell, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good stuff.
All right. We've got a whole lot more coming up. From prison to politician, the big announcement from the former Trump campaign aide, George Papadopoulos. You won't believe it.
Plus, they've both been floated as possible 2020 White House contenders, but could we be seeing a Biden and Beto Democrat ticket? The new rumor now swirling.
Biden and Beto.
Welcome back. A couple of quick political headlines for you. Joe Biden, former vice president, considering Beto O'Rourke as his hypothetical potential VP pick if he makes a 2020 White House run. The former vice president reportedly floating the idea of a younger running mate to ease concerns about his age. Biden would be 77 years old on Election Day, making him oldest president if he won. Wonder if Beto would take that. And former Trump campaign aide George Papadopoulos, he's running for Congress. The news coming just days after serving 2 weeks in prison for lying to the FBI about his contacts connected to Russia. He's seeking a run in California's Orange County House District. Ed, I think Joe Biden loses. Maybe Papadopoulos wins.
All right, we're going to let you throw that out there, and we'll see. We'll let the voters decide. Taxpayers on the hook. Special counsel Robert Mueller's Russia probe costing a whopping $25 million so far, still going. This as new documents reveal the tactics the FBI took that were questionable when they interviewed General Michael Flynn way back in January 2017. Here to react, Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning.
Let's get right down to it. There was yet another document dump. It seems like every Friday there's something coming from the special counsel's office. This is a response to what Flynn's team had said. What's the most important thing you took away from these documents?
The documents confirm that General Flynn's attorneys were right in raising questions about the way Flynn was approached and questioned. It confirms that the FBI agents, including Peter Strzok, didn't see any indications of lying by Flynn. In fact, they believed he was telling the truth, and that he believed he was telling the truth. And on top of that, you had Andrew McCabe, the corrupt number 2 of the FBI, who had been fired for lying since, call up Flynn and say, you know what, you don't want to involve White House counsel here because we're going to have to bring the Justice Department in, which was a bunch of malarkey. And the idea that he did this to the National Security Advisor is just unbelievable to me. And now we know whose idea was this. James Comey.
Yeah,
so you had this corrupt duo of Comey and McCabe that targeting Flynn for what? He talked to the Russian ambassador's incoming National Security Advisor. There was no reason to go after him, but to target him and to get a scalp as they embarked on their anti-Trump campaign.
Tom, to your point, James Comey did this interview several days back here in New York City and sort of boasted about the fact, I wouldn't have been able to get away with this in the George W. Bush administration or the Obama administration. They were more organized, but there was chaos at the beginning of the Trump administration. So instead of going through the White House counsel's office, we sort of just sprung this on Flynn. How could he say that?
What an outrageous hypocrite. This is the same man who complained about the White House talking to him and the president talking to him directly about cases because, quote, there were procedures about how the White House was supposed to communicate with the FBI and Justice Department. And it goes to show that the rules didn't apply to Donald Trump when it came to targeting him. And they were holding him out to a standard that they held no one else out to.
This is what the president and his attorney, Rudy Giuliani, have been saying, that there's 2 standards of justice. This fires a lot of people up. I've got less than a minute, Tom. Bottom line, do you think there's a chance that Judge Sullivan just says the FBI acted improperly here? I'm throwing out the charges against Flynn.
Oh, I think he ought to do that. I think he needs to initiate proceedings, throw out the charges based on government misconduct, and protect General Flynn from being prosecuted anymore on these issues. And if he doesn't do it, President Trump can't pardon Flynn soon enough.
All right. Tom Fitton has been all over the story from the beginning. Appreciate your insight this morning.
You're welcome.
All right. Meanwhile, the border wall fight, that is heating up in Washington as well. But will the president actually take the fight for $5 billion into 2019, maybe delay this battle past Christmas? And 2 years after Navy SEAL Charlie Keating was killed fighting ISIS, our friend Emily Campagno gets to honor him while living out her own racing dream. She takes us behind the wheel next.
With every lap that we raced today, we raised money for his family and the United States Veterans Corps. It's an honor to drive for your son.
This is not a bet. It's
Our friend Emily Compagno is doing something very special. She lived out her race car driver dreams for a wonderful cause.
Emily taking part in a 24-hour race to support veterans in need and honor fallen Navy SEAL Charlie Keating, who was killed while fighting ISIS in 2016.
Former federal attorney Emily Compagno joins us now. Thank you so much for being here, Emily.
You guys, thank you so much.
Tell us about this. This looks like an amazing experience that you had.
It was an incredible experience, a total blast, and most importantly, an honor. Check out the package. It is race day in Georgia. We are here at Road Atlanta for the 24 Hours of Lemons race, and my team is the U.S. Veterans Corps. As you can see, it's raining, and I'm a little nervous, but I'm honored to be a part of something raising money for these special forces. Let's get started. Andy Ladner, he's the founder of the United States Veterans Corps. What happens the more laps we do here?
So this is not only just for our missions, but it's also for the fallen. So each one of our drivers, including you, are driving for someone that was killed in combat operations. You can either make a donation per lap or one blanket donation.
Tell me more about your charity.
U.S. Veterans Corps, we do food, toys, house is the easiest way to say it. The biggest one we have is Operation Coming Home. We're on House 19 right now. In fact, one of our drivers, he was House 17, was wounded in combat in Afghanistan. He is going to drive for Laps of Honor also.
Anthony Von Cannon, U.S. Army veteran, the recipient of the 17th Hero Home.
This is a little bit different from what we normally do. He asked if I wanted to race a car. I'm like, heck yeah, I wanted to come down there and watch anyway. But yes, of course, I'll try to drive it.
Receiving the 17th Hero Home, what was that like?
Incredible. Just a huge blessing. It was right on time with our family. They parachuted the keys in like they did and just really changed our lives.
This is my teammate, Eric Stedner. He is a retired U.S. Army Ranger. All right, Eric, you're the pro. What are your race tips for me? I'm starting to freak out. It's becoming real.
Just relax. Keep going straight forward.
Anthony, last words for me.
Have fun.
Nice.
Go fast.
All right, you guys, let's go get geared up. Super excited. Time to go. We raced today. We raised money for Gold Star mom, Krista Keating Joseph. This is Charlie Keating IV's mom. He was a Navy SEAL who fell in northern Iraq on May 3rd, 2016. And we just learned that the crew, all these special ops guys that have put this on, they knew your son. What does that mean to you?
Oh, it makes my day. I got here and I heard stories that I haven't heard before about Charlie. And he was just such an exceptional person, and I'm proud of what he did for his life. And I'm proud of you.
Oh my God, thank you.
I can't believe you're doing this.
I was thinking of your son. I was scared at times, and I thought that any type of fear I have pales in comparison to the greater cause and honoring your son's memory and the sacrifice he made for our nation. It's an honor to drive for your son. Really, thank you for being here.
It's an honor to see you do it.
Oh, that's sweet.
Wonderful cause. So relax and go fast.
Yeah, it was really great directions at that time. So